Thank you for staying with us. Let's just spend a few minutes to talk very briefly around football politics before we go on with the rest of the show tonight. Let's start with FIFA elections, integrity test, transparency test, all the kind of tests. 4 candidates are standing still. Others are falling by the wayside. So it's down to 4, 3 against Blatter. I mean, this guy should learn.
When you put it that way,
this guy should learn from our opposition. Come together and fight. Come together and fight one common enemy. What do you feel about it? But 4 guys are still in the ring.
That is actually the last submission you made was what I thought would have been the most logical thing. Because let's be candid, Sir Blatter is well entrenched, very influential, exceedingly powerful. It is next to impossible to remove the man unless he does something catastrophically wrong or he decides that he's unwilling to stand again for election, which is not going to happen because 1, the man is too careful, 2, he covers his tracks very brilliantly, 3, even if he was dying and was on oxygen, he would still stand for election. So I think the fact that is where these 3 candidates got it wrong, but there is nothing wrong for wanting to aspire for greater office, be it by the Portuguese legend Luis Figo, by the Dutchman as well, but also by the Jordanian prince. All of them feel they have a good chance at becoming FIFA president and bringing about the reforms in quotes that the federation is dying for. Let's be candid. Being FIFA president is one of the most influential, most powerful, seats in the world. Yeah, you relate to presidents on a very equal basis. You have the capacity to ban a country from international football, and everybody runs into panic. We keep saying it here that there are more FIFA members than there are members in the UN. That tells you something.
All right, let's talk about the FIFA elections for a while and come down to Africa and talk about what is going on in Africa, because the story broke earlier on this morning about Issa Hayatou planning to go on an extra term. But then, for that to happen, there is a certain clause that has got to be amended in the CAF statutes. This is not the first time we'll be seeing an amendment to the CAF statutes when it's getting close to election time. Yes. You remember
the last time he said if you are not a
member of the executive committee,
you cannot
contest. Exactly. When Jakanuma and Danny Jordan were interested in running,
which is interesting, which is a clause that does not exist in FIFA, because Luis Figo, the Jordanian prince, Luis Figo and the Van Praag are not members of the FIFA executive committee. If that clause had been there, they would have been knocked out. And it just keeps remains that thing.
For now, the plan is to remove a clause that is not there in FIFA, but I will put in the African in the CAF statutes, which is age limit for those who want to become president.
Age limit. Oh. Well, when you talk about this, the question is how old is Hayatou?
68.
Hayatou is 68. Now, what is the age limit? Are we talking 60? Are we talking 40?
If it goes for an extra year, it gets to 72.
The age limit is 70.
The age limit is 70. Now, how are we sure that after that is if peradventure is re-elected and he wants to go for another term?
Nothing stops him.
Nothing stops him.
So if they remove his clause, nothing stops him.
Then they can go
on and on and become a avalanche there. So as far as I'm concerned, everybody, especially with the younger generation, have been clamoring for the fact that Hayatou should just step aside. New people should come in. Of course, how will I put this drunkenness for power is on most times on Africans.
No, it's not African.
I know what I'm saying.
Blatter isn't African.
Well, he's talking about Hayatou.
No, I'm talking about what I'm saying. It says
it's about
he has a point.
I have a point.
Most of the longest
times on Africa.
Most of the longest heads of states are in Africa.
In Africa. So now you're
actually arguing that it's actually Africa.
But some of the longest serving football administrators are not in Africa.
Okay,
I've not come from Africa. So let's limit our discussions to the football.
Okay, let's limit our discussion to the football. Now, Hayatou basically knows that if people with credibility and integrity comes against him, it's really going to be an issue.
My issue is, did Hayatou say that was going to be his last term in office? Yes, he said it.
He has said that like twice.
It's your word against his.
Because of that.
It's your word against his.
No, because of that clause that limits anybody that is 70 from contesting. So we felt that this was going to be his last term.
Is this the first time that anyone in power in Africa has said that you only run for one term?
And
he has run last term.
Even Blatter himself
I've said that like more than twice.
He wasn't going to run anymore, and he changes his mind.
Yes.
Because it is your right to change your mind.
It's your prerogative.
It's a prerogative, so nobody can really hold you down to it.
Yes.
If you said I wasn't going to run for a second term and you change your mind, you have a right to do it.
But
That's the
wait
thing.
now, sorry.
I think the statute is very flexible to change.
Excuse me. The problem here is he's not changing his mind. He can change his mind anytime he likes. The problem here is he's changing the statutes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's too flexible.
Manipulates the system to suit his own interests.
Hold on. Let today make his point.
He always manipulates the system to suit his own interests. The CAF executive committee is more or less a cabal or a mafia set where a lot of the people who are there are more or less handpicked by him and who are his cronies. But they will never move against him.
That is how football works.
Which is unfortunate.
That is how football
Very
works.
unfortunate.
And if he's able to do whatever he needs to do within the rules of the game, you really can't hold him down to it.
That is why I said that the statutes
because
are flexible.
if you want to change the statutes, there's a way you change the statutes.
And they're very flexible.
And you never hear a voice of dissent in the CAF
Exactly.
executive committee.
Now
Everybody always toes the party line.
Exactly.
Now that is the issue. How is he able to do it that everybody toes that line? Because the power resides with the people to either accept the changes or not to accept the change.
Well,
So that is where the issue like anyway.
just a bit about handpicking.
I said something about CAF being more or less a mafia organization.
And a cabal.
Where Hayatu is the don. Everybody, he has capos in the CAF executive committee.
Anyway.
He has foot soldiers and hitmen in the national associations. Nobody would do anything without the express permission
I mean,
of Mr. Hayatu.
Okay, talk to us about it. It's an interesting topic, really, and a whole lot goes into all of this, and particularly when voting has got to be public. I mean, voting is public right there in the presence of the president of CAF. You have to raise your hand for or against him. Who will raise the hand against him? But talk to us about it and let us know what you feel about all of these issues. It's an interesting one. Blatter says, I'm not going to go for the fifth term. He's going. Hayatu says, look, I'm ending it. Now there's a plan to remove that clause so that it can go one more term. What's going on? Talk to us about it. Let's find out from you what you feel about all of these issues. But then let's state very clearly that the way football works, these guys are well within their rights to change their mind and to put it to the Congress of FIFA and CAF for these changes to be made. And if these changes are made, then you can't really fault them. You can't really fault them. You fault those who have allowed
Yes, we can afford
those changes to be made. Talk to us about it. We would like to read your comments on all of these interesting dimensions to politics. Well, maybe more intriguing than the politics that we see elsewhere, but the politics in football can also be as exciting as the one you find everywhere in the world. We'll go now and talk about the football on the pitch very quickly. The Ivorians, African champions,
arrived.
Expectedly, plenty of reception, national honors for everybody involved in the game. I mean, that's what we see.
They reported a million.
The power of football.
Million people crowded the streets of Abidjan to receive them.
That's the power
A national
of
holiday was declared in the entire Ivory Coast. And, you know, despite what everybody has said, I'm really happy that Cote d'Ivoire has won this. Someone did the Kidaba, that's Yaya Toure stepping down from the Jets. I mean, it's wonderful. This is a country that has gone through so much in the past 10 years. Remember, they had a civil war. And it was former captain Didier Drogba that did a lot to bring this country together. Now a Nations Cup victory has come after since 23 years ago, I believe, 1992. So I mean, imagine what this has done for the psychology of Ivorians.
On an election day in Cote d'Ivoire,
1 million people
on the streets,
crowded the streets of Abidjan. 1 million, that's a lot.
and the fans are really jubilating. That is what football does. We had our own share 2 years ago, and I'm sure we are going to be having it again sometime soon. Hopefully. But then this is really massive. And national honors for Avery now for some of the key players of the team. That's a thin line between success and failure. Remember, 2000. And what year was that? What Nations Cup was that when the Ivorian national team were marched to the barracks? The entire team marched to the barracks.
No, that was 1998. That was Burkina Faso. That was Burkina Faso.
Okay, Burkina Faso. The entire team marched to the barracks for embarrassing the country. But then look at what is happening today. Football bringing everybody together, but it's massive. And as you said, this is huge. 1 million people on the streets. Politicians can't do this. Only the football can bring these people out like you've seen it. Let's come home now and talk about the Flying Eagles, awaiting African champions from Senegal, awaiting world champions later in the year and all of that. But what's the story? The Flying Eagles have intensified preparations for the Under-20 African Championship, and we are hoping that they can also step up, qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah, basically that is a hope. Of course, they came. They were second in the last African Youth Championship. They actually lost 5-4 on penalties.
The last African Youth Championship under-20, we came third. We came third. You're talking about the good.
I'm talking about the good English.
Yeah.
Okay.
We came third. The Egyptians and the Ghanaians came first and second.
That's true. So, of course, this is the same team. This team has continuity. This team was actually won.
Everybody's expecting them to win. Is that
we're all expecting them to win. So, as far as I'm concerned, let them just go there. The Manugaba guys have actually been in camp for about 3 months or so, and they've been playing well. They played in the Super 6. Did really well, and they overwhelmed the so-called big clubs in Nigeria.
Today, FIFA released the draws for the FIFA Under-20.
That's Nduka Obade, that's the assistant coach. I spoke to him just a few days ago, and he said, "Look, if he told you that the team is not under pressure, that he's a liar, because everyone believes that they should win. So, and they are the main key actors who everybody expects to go and win. So they are under some kind of pressure, but it is positive pressure, not negative pressure. This is a pressure that is driving them to match the expectations of the people and to go to and to exceed the expectations. Remember, this team has won the African Championship 7 times, so winning it is not a big deal. Winning the World
Stage that we're taking,
to the world stage.
Before they go to the World Stage, you have to do enough to get into the semi-finals of the African Youth Championship. That will give them a ticket to the World Cup. But then today, the World Soccer Governing Body, FIFA, have announced the draw for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, even with the qualifiers yet to begin in Africa. And then what we'll have to do is to wait for which teams will be filling into the slots created for Africa by FIFA after the draws were announced today. Let's quickly allow you to see what the groupings are. From Group A, New Zealand, Ukraine, the host, of course, New Zealand, Ukraine, US, and Myanmar. Group B, you have Argentina, perennial champions, Panama, CAF 3, that's a third place team from CAF, and then you have Austria completing Group B.
By the way, Argentina are South American champions.
Yeah, and then Group C, you have Qatar, you have Colombia, you have Portugal, and the team that finishes fourth place from Africa. And then Group D, you have Mexico. The team that finishes second in Africa, you have Uruguay, you have Serbia.
That's a tough group.
That's a tricky group. And then you have Group E. That's where you have the champions of Africa, Brazil. I mean, this looks like a group of death. North Korea, and then you have Hungary.
I disagree.
A group of death.
I think it's a show between Nigeria and Brazil.
Maybe just Nigeria and Brazil.
And interestingly, Brazil didn't do too well during the South American qualifiers.
And then the final group, Group F, you have the Germans, you have Fiji, you have Uzbekistan, and you have Honduras completing the draw. The draws were made earlier today for the CAF Under-20 FIFA Under-20 World Cup.